Hello, in this video we will just understand about the spinal cord and their function and the anatomy of the spinal cord. So we will also look at the vertebral column which that is surrounded the spinal cord as a protective part which that is made up of bones. So it is known as the vertebrae. So this is the brain and spinal cord and the surrounded the vertebral column. So in this way here you can see this is the central nervous system, brain and spinal cord, and this is the clivus are present, and below the clivus the spinal cord which that is contain a cervical 7, thoracic 12, lumbar 5 and sacral 5, coccyx 2 and 32 vertebrae collectively. So in this manner you can say that. And let's begin to understand the a major structure which that is combined with the vertebral column. So here is the cross sectional area of the spinal cord containing vertebral column. So we are looking in the upper side of the cross section. So in this way here is the yellow color is the dorsal and ventral root of ganglion which that is used for the sensory and motor innervation. And this is the spinal cord and surrounded by the blood vessel for the supply of the blood to the spinal cord is posterior spinal arteries and the anterior spinal arteries here you can understand. So this is the spinal cord which that is contain white matter surrounded with the butterfly like structure is the gray matter, and the gray matter is the central as compared to the brain, because brain contain gray matter is surrounded and inside is the white matter. So let's begin to understand the here is the spinal cord, and this is the spinal cord which that is contain blue color is showing that is the spinal cord which that is showing the tract which that is receive the sensation from the skin to the brain to transmit the signal to the brain through our nerves. So the a first order neuron, second order neuron and third order neuron we will discuss in this video later. So this is the gray matter is butterfly like structure, and this is the dorsal column which that is used for the dorsal column lemniscus pathway, and this is the lateral spinothalamic tract and this ventral spinothalamic tract, and this is the tectospinal tract. So this is the ventral corticospinal tract and the tectospinal tract and the rubrospinal tract is used for the flexor of the muscle tone, and in this way here is a ventral root. So remember, we will discuss in the next video separately each video which that contain a spinothalamic tract and the basically the reflex of the different nerves toward the brain, and this is the white matter, and this is the reticulospinal tract are present and the lateral spinal tract. So this is covered spinal cord via a meninges. Meninges is the basically is the protective layers of the spinal cord, which that is the outermost is the dura mater, and the pia mater is the middle, and the innermost layer is the arachnoid matter is known as the meninges. This is made up of 3 layers surrounded by the spinal cord. So while the hair is the basically the white matters contain white matter, we will discuss the basically the posterior funiculus, anterior funiculus, and posterior funiculus and lateral funiculus. And this is basically the anatomy of the white matter, while on the other hand the gray matter is the posterior median sulcus are present is here, while the gray commissure are present is here between the gray matter is the upper side of the gray matter is the basically is the and on the other hand here is the posterior dorsal horn, posterior dorsal horn and ventral anterior horn and lateral horn, which that is the part of gray matter. And this gray matter is basically is contain a myelinated axon, which that transmit the signal fast due to the Schwann cell surrounded by the axon of the nerves. So this is the basically is the center canal, and this is the anterior median fissure are present here, while the posterior median sulcus is upper part. So this is the meninges and the white matter and the gray matter we are discussing. And on the other hand, the spinal nerve and ventral root of ganglion and the dorsal root of ganglion. So this is the layers meninges, which that is we can understand with this diagram. This is the dura mater is the outermost, arachnoid is the middle, and pia mater is the basically outermost. So in this way, you can understand the innermost is the pia mater, while the outermost is the dura mater, and the middle is the arachnoid, is the meninges. While here is the epidural space contain fat is the adipose tissue, and this is the dorsal root of ganglion and ventral root of ganglion collectively, which that here is you can see this the motor input and the sensory input and motor output, which that is afferent and efferent neuron involved for it for the reflex. So on the other hand, here is the body of vertebra, and this is the spinal cord. So let's begin to understand from this diagram. To understand, this is a spinal cord contain a ventral and dorsal root of ganglion, which that is the part of peripheral nervous system, which that is contain autonomic nervous system and the voluntary and involuntary nervous system. And involuntary contain autonomic nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, fight and flight response, and rest and digest. So this is the disc contain each vertebrae, which that is a disc is used for the shock absorption. And in this way, here is a cushion-like structure, and this is the vertebra, and this is the nerve root, dorsal and ventral root of ganglion. This is the disc, and this is the nerve root, and this is the vertebra disc. So this is the arising of the root of ganglion, which that is the collectively surrounded by the epimysium, and in this way here is the basically target to the tissue through via a sensory nerves, and the sensory nerve will receive the signal from the stimulus. Stimulus can be a heat, cold, or injury. So the sensory fiber effector and this is the basically effector and afferent, and this is the motor nerve. This motor nerve is the efferent. After the cognition from the brain and reflex arc will be occurred due to the muscle contraction, and this is the effector is the muscle and the contraction on the basis of the response. So let's begin to understand the cross section of the spinal cord contain dorsal root of ganglion and ventral root of ganglion and the nerve canal, the gray matter and white matter. So in this way here is you can understand this is the ventral root of ganglion and dorsal root of ganglion, while here is the afferent nerve fiber, which that is receive the signal toward the spinal cord, the central nervous system, while on the other hand the interpretation will lead to efferent fiber, which that is give the response. So let's begin to understand via a cross section of that central nervous system through a sensory tract we will discuss now. So this is the sensory tract, which basically is contain a lumbar spinal cord, thoracic spinal cord, cervical spinal cord, and the lower medulla, upper medulla, and pons, midbrain, and brain. And this brain contain a primary sensory cortex, respectively. And this is we are going to understand the via a cross section of each segment from the lumbar spinal cord to the brain. So the brain contain a ventral, posterior, lateral, and nucleus of thalamus, and the ascending path we will discuss now. So what is the ascending path of the neurosensory tract and neurosensation, the nerve sensation of something, pain, heat, cold. So this is the primary sensory cortex. In this way, let's begin to understand first the fiber from lumbar region, for example, skin. And in this way, this will move from first order neuron to the second order neuron toward the brain via a spinal cord to the midbrain, pons, midbrain, brain, and via a thalamus, ventral posterolateral nucleus of thalamus will interpret, and third order neuron will target to the primary sensory cortex, which that will lead to sensation of pain or sensation of the something touch, pressure, and heat and cold. So this is the dorsal root of ganglion, which that is transmit the signal. So the ventral root of ganglion will give the effector response. So this is the ascending path, and this is the basically is the fiber, the dorsal fiber from the cervical region we are discussed, and the fiber from lumbar region we had discussed from the skin. So let's begin to understand the dermatome, the target of the spinal cord to the different area of the body. So this is the person which that is the front and the back view. So this is the region which that is I am giving the color red for cervical, cervical 8 vertebrae, and the thoracic 12 vertebrae, 1 to 12 we will discuss, and lumbar is 5, 1 to 5 we will discuss, and the sacral is 1 to 4. So just we are understanding the overview. I am not going to detail, just you can understand just only, because we are not understanding we are lumbar 1, lumbar 5, lumbar 2. So you should understand we are collectively that general overview. So in this way, here is the two, and this is the upper chest, and the deltoid muscle, shoulder and tricep, and the radial muscle, which that is involved for the cervical control, and the muscle movement, and the touch, pressure, etc., which that is received via a cervical spinal cord, cervical ganglion of the spinal cord. And lower chest and abdominal muscle, oblique muscle, involved via a thoracic vertebral column, which that is contain a thoracic ganglion, which that is thoracic 1 to 12, involved for the basically is the arms, tricep, and the arms, half arm, inner side. So the ulna, and the fingers on the other hand for contraction of the finger. And this is the basically the lumbar region. This lumbar region is involved for the legs and the feet. On the other hand, the sacral regions, sacral 1 to 4, involved for the genitalia, erection, and the ejaculation response. So on the other hand, here is you can see this is the back region. In this way, here is the ankle, calves, and gluteus, and back thigh, which that is involved. Also the back shoulder is basically trapezius muscle, and the wings, and the basically is the back is the lower back involved for it. But on the other hand, the most lower back is involved via orange color, the lumbar region, and the lumbar spinal cord is involved. So you can see, understand the cervical is involved, head and shoulder and back tricep. On the other hand, the basically is the wrist also. So this is basically general overview we will discuss, and we will understand via a dermatomes video. So I will make. So here is basically the hand finger, and on the other hand, this is the basically is the cervical region, cervical vertebral column, which that is involved for it as spinal cord, and this thoracic spinal cord, thoracic region, which that is used for the abdominal thorax region, and this is the lumbar 5 is involved for the orange color is showing that in the figure, while this is the ankle is involved also through lumbar region, and sacral is used to the gluteus, ankle, and calves. For example, the back thigh also. So thanks for watching. Please make sure to subscribe, and we will discuss the dermatomes in the next video.